Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the navigation interface panel, and the next part we're going to look at is the navigation tools here on the bottom right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a teapot again, and let's look at these. So the first tool we have here is the zoom tool, and by clicking on that, and if I click here, left click and push in and push out, that allows you to zoom. You can also use the middle mouse wheel. The next tool, and this is what these 4 little squares mean, is the zoom all windows. So that will zoom, if I click and drag in any of the windows, that will zoom all the windows. This is zoom extends. Now zoom extends, I'm going to show you here. If I draw a couple more, maybe some cylinders and things around. Let's have a cylinder and let's have a box. And what zoom extend does is it zooms to fit everything in. So let's just zoom in a bit here, and if I click on that, you'll see that it zooms out to show every object there is. If you click and hold onto the green, it zooms into the selected object. So let me just select this object over here. Need the selection tool first, and it will just select on the object. You can also do that, as mentioned earlier, by pressing Z. So there we go. And actually, if I go back to zoom extend like this, you can also do that with the Z as well. So I can press Z there, click off, and Z will come out to show everything in view there. This here is the same again, but for every window. So if I do this, it will zoom into the object on every window, and then out to every object on every window. So that's the first few there. Down here we have field of view, and we also have the selection tool, the zoom extend. This is probably the zoom region, sorry. This is probably one of the most important ones down here. So what you can do is you can click and drag and zoom into a region. This is pan view, and pan view, just hold left click and you can pan your view around. You can also do that by holding down the middle mouse wheel. Down here we have the orbit sub-object tool, so you can orbit your object there. There are different orbit options as well. Let's go and actually press Z and look at that object there. So I can orbit the object that way, or I can orbit it this way. So that's your orbit tool. And here is the maximize viewport. So that's basically Alt W again. So you press Alt W to go to that one, and that one back to all 4. And if I wanted to return back to my normal view, there we go. We also have up here the Viewcube, and some people love it, some people hate it, but you can click and drag on the Viewcube to view round. I always find this quite a useful way of getting back to your original view. You can go front, right, side, top, and that's quite a good way if you find it quite hard to navigate around. Just a good way of using the Viewcube, just to have a good look at your scene that you're creating. Right, up in the top right hand corner now we have the control panel, and this is the main tool that you're going to use to create and modify all your objects and things like that. So if I just clear the stage again, and it's just delete to get rid of all my objects. Right, so up here, these are the object types that you can create, and there's different types of objects which we'll get to, but for the moment we'll probably be using standard primitives. And this is the modify panel. So this is where you make your object and then you modify it to start looking and appearing the way you want. So you create first and then you modify. So let's have a quick look at an example. So if I just create a box, and now that I've created the box, if I go to the modify panel, you see I can change the name of it. So I could have it as pink box, change the color of it there. Here's the modifiers list, which we'll look at later. For now it might look a bit daunting, but these are all different special things we can do to the box to help us manipulate it. Down here we can change the length, so let's make it 50, 50 and 50. The length segments, so how many segments you want in it, let's have 3. And you'll notice as well, we mentioned this earlier in the first part, if I just click on the object, press Z. In the first part we mentioned the different types of wireframe view stuff. You can't see those extra segments I've put in here, but you can here. If I press F4, you can see the edge faces now, or I could press F3 and go to the wireframe view as well. So that allows me to see those segments that I've just added. So that's the end to the 3ds Max basic interface. For most of your tutorials from now on, you'll be using the top bar and the right bar down here. You could use the navigation panel down here, but as you get into it a bit more, you'll probably be using the mouse wheel and holding down Alt and things like that to navigate around your workspace. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much.